Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today, we take a look at a Panerai Radiomir Black Seal, reference PAM 380. This model is considered an entry-level Panerai, powered by the hand-wound modified Unitas movement called P2. It beats at 21,600 bph and comes with 52 hours of power reserve. It comes with hours, minutes, and a small seconds subdial at 9 o'clock. The seconds cannot be hacked, which is a shame for a military-inspired watch. Another shame is the fact it comes with a solid caseback, as I would personally love to see the movement, even if it isn't the new in-house version. If we ignore the submersible and a Giziano, Panerai lineup has two basic shapes and models, the Radiomir and the Luminor. Radiomir was the first model Panerai made more than 80 years ago, and it got its name from the radium used as a luminous material. As radium turned out to be pretty bad for the health of people working with it, watchmakers, including Panerai, switched to tritium, another radioactive material that was much milder when it comes to health impacts. The switch of the luminous material was used to both redesign the watch and to rename it Luminor. Despite both having cushion cases, Luminor got proper lugs and a more massive case design, compared to the elegant Radiomir and these wire lugs. Unlike most watches today, these historical models were actually bigger than their modern reinterpretations at 47 mm, while this Radiomir measures a more restrained 45. Although 45 might sound very large, the fact the watch doesn't have traditional lugs make it very short, and as a result, the lugs will not overhang smaller wrists. But even with this relatively short lug-to-lug, I find the watch too big in appearance because of the all-dial design. I know Paneristi will say it's supposed to be big, and back in the day when this was used as a military watch by divers, it was seen as an advantage. But looking at it on my wrist, I can't help wondering how much better it would look if it was smaller. Thanks to the manual wind movement, it is also pretty thin for a Panerai at just over 12 mm, and the cushion shape makes it look even thinner. The whole case is finished to a mirror polish, which in combination with a slightly curved sapphire crystal makes for a very reflective watch. Despite the overall elegant look of the watch, it comes with a screw-down crown and 100 meters of water resistance, meaning you can take this swimming or diving without having to worry about it. Crown operation is very good and easy thanks to the smoothness and the large size. I'm usually against manual wind watches with screw-down crowns, but unlike the Rolex Oyster Precision I reviewed, where the crown is pretty small, this one is much easier to operate, so I'm willing to let it pass. The one thing where I was sure I will be disappointed was the dial, as I always associate Panerai with sandwich dials, so getting a Panerai without one just didn't make sense to me. But even though the specs and reviews will tell you this is a simple painted dial, that is not really the case, as these numerals are actually cutouts filled with lume. So think of it as a sandwich dial where the lume was filled to the top of the cutout. It is actually a pretty cool look, and the more time I spent with the watch, the more I started to like it. The dial itself is very rich black, and hands have a rough finish to them. Since I doubt the reason is poor quality, I believe it is done to stop the hands to reflect light, which is kind of pointless on a watch that is as reflective as this one is when it comes to the rest of it. The lume is excellent, as you might expect from a brand that names their models by the lume they used. It is strong, lasts a long time, and thanks to the numerals and hand size, easily readable even if you have very poor eyesight. With Panerai, it seems everyone can find their own style. This model can be had with or without the second subdial if you want something even simpler and more elegant, while the Luminor is for those who want a more masculine, in-your-face watch. For those who are after the extreme, you have the submersible and the Giziano, and although they're all different, they share the same basic DNA that is clearly identified after a single look at each one of them. And that is where the true power of Panerai lies, the original design that is their own. I was very much in love with Panerai a few years back, but Their ever-increasing prices and the scandal with the Brooklyn model made them fall out of favor with me. The Duo models with their poor water resistance and hiked up price certainly did not help them with me. So when I originally got this watch, I had my predetermined opinion of not liking it. The wire lugs and the non-sandwich dial was another thing I disliked, as I was definitely a person that would go for a Luminor. But after spending some time with this, I have to admit I'm reconsidering my love for Panerai, and I can really see the appeal. Even this Radiomir that I wouldn't like back in the day looks very attractive. There's something very elegant in the simplicity it offers. Sadly, despite the short lug-to-lug, this model is still too big for me. If it was offered in a 40mm case, I would love it, despite that not being in the spirit of Panerai. Well, that completes this week's review, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.